go from one combat between Jim Matheson and Leon Draisaitl to Brad Marchand versus the entire Carolina Hurricanes organization, or at least their Vincent Trocheck and their social media team. To recap, Marchand and Vincent Trocheck chirping each other. Trocheck got compared to Marchand, and Trocheck was like, "What do you think I'm a rat?" And Marchand thought, "Wow, me being compared to Vincent Trocheck, it's like comparing a Prius to a Lamborghini." I think, was it Trocheck who laid out a big hit on Marchand in that game? They ended up playing against each other too.
Yeah, I mean, this is great.
It's craziness.
This is good theater. Like, this is good, harmless fun.
Absolutely. And then after that, the Canes defeat the Bruins like really badly. Marchand 6-game point 7-1. The 6-game point streak for Brad Marchand snapped. And the Canes obviously going on Twitter to chirp. And Brad Marchand's like, "Hey, you're the Carolina Hurricanes. You're the reason why we, as players, pay 20% in escrow." And then Alan Walsh chimed in with another tweet about that, essentially just saying that, no, it's all the stuff that was going on during the 2004-2005 lockout that led to you paying 20% in escrow. You said it. This is ultimately good theater. So let's talk about it. What like on a level of, if we were comparing this as like, you know, like how we rate like movies and stuff like that, on a rating of 5, in terms of the theater of this, give this a rating on 5.
Well, for hockey, it's 5 because, you know, we have to do it in the, you know, other sports call this, you know, Monday.
Yes.
But, you know, we don't have a lot of hockey players like Brad Marchand in a lot of ways, but like specifically with how he uses his Twitter account. Remember, he went on a pretty good rant about the Olympics and the taxi squads that were being introduced to get through this season. And why couldn't we have taxi squads at the Olympics? Anyway, I mean, he made very clear his thoughts on the Olympic decision on Twitter. I love the response. I mean, look, the Canes have a good social media team. They chirped them with the L is for Lamborghini is what they put in putting the, you know, the score up at the end of that game. And, you know, obviously a reference to the Marchand quote with the Prius and Lamborghini. And then I love that he gets in there on that. I mean, look, I don't think he's factually correct, but that's not even important. He's just chirping. Because when you think about it, it's expert level trolling, because he didn't just he felt trolled by the Hurricanes as a whole, right? Because it's their account. And so he went right at their entire team. Like, basically, you guys have no fans. You've got no money coming in. I think this is what he was inferring by saying we pay high escrow because the league is carrying your organization financially. I love it. I think it's great. I hope he keeps tweeting. I love Brad Marchand. Like, I love that you know where he stands on things. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, he's not entirely wrong. Like, Vincent Trocheck's a good player. Brad Marchand, like, you start looking at his numbers, I think he's going to get in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Seriously. Like, I think that's the trajectory of his career, these last few seasons. Like, it's amazing what he's done. Like, I don't have his stats in front of me, but I remember he was a second round pick, I believe. I think his first 20 games in the league, he didn't score. He might not even had a point. And he's turned himself into like a potential 100-point guy. Like, and he's of course known for the off ice antics, some of the things he did on the ice. He's obviously been in the early part of his career suspended several times for low bridge hits and the like. You know, remember he was licking Leo Komarov's face in a playoff series. He's used his hockey stick in an inappropriate manner in terms of spiking into someone else's groin. He was known for kind of a lot of stuff like that. And largely that stuff's out of his game, to be honest. I mean, he hasn't crossed the line too much in those ways, and he's become an outstanding player. So chirp away, Brad. I think it's great. I think the Hurricanes can handle it. Like, I just see it as good, clean fun, man. Like, I literally laughed when I saw that tweet yesterday. And so I don't have any problem with it. And I hope more players come along that are like that. But like, look at, he's one of a kind guy too. He's not, there's not a factory, you know, churning out a bunch of Brad Marchands. I mean, his value to the Bruins is such that he's very unique in all these things he does.
Yeah, I love the Prius Lambo comparison because it's true. I mean, no disrespect to Vincent Trocheck. Maybe you don't have to call him a Prius, but like, clearly the more expensive.
Well, Prius is a reliable car.
It's a reliable car. I mean, I don't know if I called you a Prius, would you like it?
Like, it's not a compliment.
Do you see yourself as a Prius?
No, I don't.
No,
I'm not a big car guy though. So like maybe I don't, maybe the reference isn't as harsh because I don't really care about cars that much.
Okay, fine.
I'm more like a Tesla.
See, okay. The fact that you said Tesla, like that's fine. That's okay. Nobody wants to get called a Prius. We all know how reliable it is. It's a nice car, but nobody wants to be known as a Prius. We would rather be known as a Lamborghini. And even if you don't care that much about cars, like the Tesla, Lamborghini, Ferrari, whatever, I'd rather be that. But also, we know clearly in the situation, the more valuable player between the two is clearly Brad Marchand, a guy who was a little bit of a rink rat to start off his career, but he turned himself into an offensive, productive player who, you know what, it wouldn't surprise me if he ended up in the Hall of Fame for his style of play, his ability to score goals year in, year out. Plus, he has a Stanley Cup to his name. That's going to help. A guy who's also played at the international level as well. Like, yeah,
he was going to be on Team Canada's top line, I bet.
Yes,
maybe the second line, depending on how they ended up doing it. Because I think there was a world that Crosby was going to play left wing with McDavid on the top line of Team Canada. Like, I think that was at least thought about. I know Sid was open to it. Man, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole because I love the sort of the challenge of like, you have these puzzle pieces, like all these stars, like how do you arrange them, right? How do you make it work? Like, that's part of what makes those tournaments so cool. I'm sorry we're missing that. So what kind of car would you be?
If I were a car, I've always liked Lamborghinis, funny enough. I'd like to be a Lamborghini Countach.
All right.
Yeah, I think I could definitely go. My ideal. It's actually kind of funny that we are doing this because I see myself. Because I like Lamborghinis, but also if I was an NHL player, if I had someone who at least had a shred of talent, or at least when I play ball hockey with my friends, the one player I would like to emulate in some fashion, even though I can't do it, is Brad Marchand because he can score and he's a pest. And like as a kid growing up as a Canadiens fan, once upon a time, I hated the Bruins. So of course I hated Brad Marchand. So it's rather ironic that I would still want to be a guy like Brad Marchand, a guy that just he can produce and score, but he's just so annoying to go up against. I totally would see myself as that. I would love to be that.
Yeah, awesome penalty killer, scores a ton of shorthanded goals. Like, man, you win games with players like that.
You do.
And I think he's gotten the respect. Like, I remember I covered that 2016 World Cup and he got put on Crosby's line at the start of it. And everyone's like, really? Brad Marchand? Like, that was before his sort of 100-point seasons. Like, he was a good player by then. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, he made Team Canada. But, like, it seemed like a stretch at the time. He had a friggin' awesome tournament. He actually signed his 8-year contract extension during that event. And, ever since, the Bruins have looked smart for signing him to that deal because he has outperformed it in terms of his value by leaps and bounds.
Okay, one last thing I'll mention about Brad Marchand and us just thinking about the Olympics here. Brad Marchand was an Olympic gold medal away from joining the Triple Gold Club. Yeah, he's an Olympic gold medal away. Maybe it comes in 2026, I guess, but a gold medal away from the Triple Gold Club. But we went through.
I bet he knows that too. I bet he's aware of that. Owen Power, who's probably going to get to play for Canada as a result of the NHL is not going, could win the Olympic gold. He's already got a World Championship gold. He could enter the NHL just needing the Stanley Cup. I mean, that's a big just. But still, it's wild that guy might have 2/3 of the way before he's even played an NHL game.
And if the IIHF figures out a way to reschedule the World Juniors and Owen Power says, fine, I'll play. And if he wins one there, he could enter the league with that too.
That's like Patrice Bergeron style. Patrice Bergeron won a World Championship gold in 2004. And then the next year was the lockout year. And he went to that famous 2005 World Junior team. So he won a World Championship gold before. I mean, there's a few guys. I covered the 2007 World Championship and Jonathan Toews was still just a college player. And he was a good player on that team. He's a good player pretty much every team he's ever been on, and they won gold. So it does happen. Jordan Stahl was a young player on that team, 18, I think. It's cool. Anyway, I miss international hockey. Honestly, I'm just pining. I just want to tell random stories about World Championship stuff just because I love those memories and I love international play.